When people talk about weddings, they always talk about the happiest day of your life. No one ever tells you how terrifying it is to be that close to perfect happiness, because once you reach it, there's nowhere left to go but down. 3 weeks before my wedding, I thought I had everything under control. My dress was fitted, the invitations were out, the flowers chosen, ivory roses and soft blush peonies. The band was booked, the cake was ordered, and my Pinterest board looked like a fairy tale I'd been building since I was 16. My name is Isabella Lane, and I was supposed to marry Ryan Cole. Ryan wasn't the type of man who needed grand gestures or loud words. He was quiet, deliberate, and kind in the simplest ways. He remembered how I liked my coffee, listened when I talked about work, and never raised his voice, not even when I deserved it. He grounded me. He made my life feel steady. And maybe that's why I ruined it. I used to tell myself I just wanted excitement. A break from being the responsible one, the composed bride everyone envied. But the truth is uglier than that. I didn't want excitement. I wanted proof that I could still make people look at me the way Ryan used to before everything became routine. The night of my bachelorette party wasn't supposed to be wild. My best friend Lena had planned everything. Dinner, some dancing, a few drinks. Nothing crazy, she promised. The first few hours were fine. We laughed, took photos, toasted to love and friendship. But then someone, maybe Lena, maybe someone else, decided we needed entertainment. A man walked in wearing a cop's hat and a smirk. Everyone screamed, clapping, laughing, chanting my name. I laughed too at first. It was supposed to be funny, harmless. Just a stupid tradition. Then the music changed. The lights dimmed. His shirt came off. I remember the smell of cologne, sweat, alcohol. He danced close, too close. Everyone was cheering, phones out, flashes blinding. And then I did something I still can't forgive myself for. I kissed him. It wasn't a deep kiss. Not really, not like the ones I used to give Ryan. But it was enough. Enough to destroy everything. Someone shouted, "Oh my God." Someone laughed. I pulled back, dizzy and ashamed, the world spinning around me. The man whispered something in my ear, I don't even remember what, and I walked away. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. That should have been the end. But later that night, drunk and stupid, I laughed it off with the girls. Someone showed me photos. I told them to delete them. I thought they did. 2 days later, I woke up next to Ryan. He was still asleep, his hand resting near mine. I looked at him and thought, you don't deserve what I did. I told myself I'd never speak of it again. I'd bury it. Pretend it didn't happen. But secrets don't stay buried. Not when someone else has the shovel. That afternoon, Lena called me, her voice shaking. Isabella, did you tell anyone about the party? No, I said, sitting up. Why? Because Chloe did.
Chloe.
Ryan's friend, or more accurately, Ryan's ex-friend. She'd been in our circle for years. Blunt, sarcastic, hard to read. She and Lena never got along. What did she say? I asked, my heart already racing. 3 words, Lena said quietly. She texted Ryan. She said, don't marry her. The phone slipped from my hand. I just sat there, staring at the wall. My mind blank. My body numb. That night, Ryan didn't come home. I called, texted, waited. At midnight, I sent a message. Please call me. I'm scared. He didn't reply. By the next morning, the panic set in. When I got to his apartment, half of his things were gone. His laptop, his passport, a few shirts. The framed photo of us from our engagement shoot, gone too. The fridge still had the magnets we'd bought on our first trip together. I touched them, one by one, until my hands started shaking. I waited on the couch until dawn, but he never came back. The next day, I finally got him on the phone. My heart jumped when I heard his voice, and then immediately broke at how cold it sounded. Ryan, please. I saw the pictures. There was a long silence. I could hear my own breathing. It's not what it looks like, I stammered. He didn't say anything for a moment. Then, don't insult me. I didn't sleep with him, I swear to God. He exhaled, sharp and tired. You left with him.
No.
I was drunk. I was stupid. Please, just let me explain. There's nothing left to explain. He hung up. The sound of that click felt like a door slamming shut forever. I called again.
And again.
Left voicemails. Cried until my throat burned. Sent messages that bounced between apology and desperation. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. I can't breathe without you. Nothing. Then anger crept in. Why wouldn't he just listen? I told myself I didn't deserve this kind of punishment for one mistake. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't angry at him. I was angry that he had the strength to walk away when I didn't. By the third day, I wasn't eating. By the fourth, I wasn't sleeping. I started sending him messages I don't even remember writing. Things like, "You're destroying me, and you'll regret this." I told myself it was love, but it wasn't. It was panic dressed up as passion. When he finally answered after almost a week, his voice was quieter than I expected. "Isabella, stop calling me. Just hear me out."
No.
You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. He hung up again. I threw my phone at the wall and screamed until my mother came running into the room. "What happened?" she asked, grabbing my shoulders. "He's gone," I sobbed. "He's not coming back." Her face hardened in that way only mothers' faces can. "Then you'll fix it."
How?
"He hates me." "You'll find a way," she said. "You'll apologize, you'll beg, I don't care. You will not let him destroy our family's name over one stupid night." That was the thing about my mother. She cared more about reputation than reality. But I listened anyway, because at that point, I'd have done anything to get him back. I showed up at his workplace a few days later. He walked right past me like I was a stranger. When I called his name, he turned slowly, his expression unreadable. "If you come near me again," he said flatly, "I'll call the police." It felt like a slap. "You'd really do that to me? I already did everything I could for you." He walked away, and I stood there, frozen, people staring as I cried in the middle of the sidewalk. That was the day something inside me broke. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even heartbroken. I was empty. And when emptiness takes over, you start doing things you never thought you were capable of. That night, I drafted an email to my parents' lawyer. I told myself it wasn't revenge. It was justice, a way to make him face me one last time, even if it was across a courtroom. I hit send. And just like that, I started a war I had no idea how to survive. I didn't sleep for days after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ryan's face, cold, unreadable, distant. The man who once traced circles on my back when I couldn't fall asleep now looked at me like a stranger who had ruined his life. It was like grieving for someone who was still alive. My mother stopped asking questions. She just moved through the house like a ghost, avoiding me, avoiding my father. My father, meanwhile, had gone silent, like disappointment had burned away his ability to speak. At night, I replayed the moment I kissed that stranger over and over in my head. I wanted to hate the girl in that memory, the one with the sash that said bride-to-be, lipstick smudged, eyes wild. But she was me, and you can't outrun yourself. I started drinking at night. Just a glass of wine at first, then 2, then 3. It didn't make me forget, but it made the edges blur enough to breathe. I'd scroll through our old photos on my phone, trips, dinners, mornings in bed, and think, if I could just talk to him one more time, maybe I could fix it.
So I texted him again.
And again. And again. Sometimes I'd write entire paragraphs of apologies, delete them, then rewrite them. "I didn't mean to hurt you. It was one night. I can't live with this guilt. Please, Ryan." When that didn't work, I tried calling from new numbers. Blocked every time. Then I tried showing up again. He was leaving his office when he saw me. The look on his face still haunts me. Not anger, not surprise, just exhaustion. "Ryan, please," I said, my voice cracking. "I just need 5 minutes." He stopped walking but didn't turn around. "If you come near me again," he said quietly, "I'll call the police." I froze. I wanted to laugh because it sounded absurd. Me, the woman who once shared his bed, now treated like a threat. But there was nothing funny about the way he said it.
He meant it.
I watched him walk away until he disappeared into the parking lot, the sound of his footsteps echoing in my chest. That was the night I finally broke. The next morning, my mother barged into my room. She was holding her phone, her face flushed with rage.
"Do you know what he's done?" she said.
I rubbed my eyes. "What are you talking about?" "He's telling people. Everyone. The wedding's off, and now we're the ones being humiliated." I sat up. "He's not telling anyone." She shoved the phone in my face. Ryan had posted a short statement online. "The wedding is canceled. Please respect my privacy." That was it. No accusations. No names. Just quiet dignity. But to my mother, silence was worse than shouting. "He's making us look like fools," she snapped. "Your father's colleagues are calling. The florist wants to know what to do with the flowers. The whole town is whispering about how you lost him." "I didn't lose him," I whispered. "I destroyed him." For the first time, she didn't argue. Later that day, I called our family lawyer. His name was Mr. Halden. He'd handled my parents' affairs for years, contracts, business deals, property settlements. The kind of man who spoke in polished sentences and never used words like emotion. I told him everything, or at least the version of everything that made me look less pathetic. He listened, nodding slowly. "You want to take legal action?" "I just want what's fair," I said. "We spent money on the venue, the dress, the catering." He walked away. "He can't just vanish." He leaned back in his chair. "You're talking about breach of agreement." "Yes," I said quickly. "Something like that." He took a note, then looked at me. "Are you sure this is what you want? Court can get ugly. And if he fights back..." I interrupted. "He won't. Ryan doesn't fight." I was wrong. The lawsuit was filed 2 days later, $32, $800 in damages. Venue deposits, floral arrangements, catering, photography, emotional distress. My mother helped word it. My father signed it. I just sat there, numb, while my lawyer's pen scratched across the paper like it was writing my obituary. When Ryan found out, he didn't call. He didn't text. He showed up. It was a gray morning. I was in my car, parked near his apartment, just waiting, like I had every day for the past week, hoping he'd see me. He came down the stairs holding a coffee, saw me instantly, and sighed. I rolled down the window. "Please, I just want to talk." He looked tired. "Isabella, what are you doing?" "I need you to understand." "I do understand," he said sharply. "That's the problem. I didn't mean for it to happen." I yelled. "I was drunk, I was stupid, but I still love you." He stared at me for a long moment, then said, "You don't love me. You love control." The words hit harder than any slap. I got out of the car, tears streaming. "If it makes it right, you can..." I stopped, choking on the words. "You can sleep with someone else. Anyone. Just once. I won't care. I'll even..." He cut me off, eyes widening in disbelief. "You think that's love? I think it's balance." I screamed. "You deserve something too." He stepped closer, voice low and cold. "You think letting me sleep with someone else erases what you did?" "I'm trying to make this right." "No," he said. "You're trying to bargain with your guilt." Something in me snapped. I shoved him. "You're heartless." He didn't flinch.
"No."
"I'm finally awake." Then he turned and walked away. Again. That night, I got the official letter from his lawyer. Restraining order. I remember staring at the words, "No contact permitted," until they blurred. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the papers. My mother found me crying on the floor. "This has gone too far," she said. "We'll take it to court." "Mom, stop," I whispered. "He's done with me." Her jaw tightened. "Then we'll make him pay for it." She didn't mean money. She meant pride. The hearing was set for the following month. My parents wanted me to stay out of it. "We'll handle it," my father said. "You just keep quiet." But I couldn't, because the thought of Ryan sitting in that courtroom without me made me feel like I was suffocating. So I went. I didn't sit at the plaintiff's table. I stayed hidden in the back, wearing sunglasses and a scarf, pretending to be invisible. The judge began with polite formality. Our lawyer spoke first, listing expenses and losses, calling it an abandonment of engagement. I watched Ryan from a distance, his posture steady, his expression unreadable. Then his lawyer stood. "Your Honor," he said calmly, "let's discuss why this engagement was broken." I froze. He opened a folder, and my world shattered all over again. Photos, messages, screenshots, and then something worse, a sealed plastic bag, white lace visible through the transparent film.
The courtroom gasped.
My mother buried her face in her hands. My father stared at the table like he wanted to disappear. The judge leaned forward. "Is this what I think it is?" Ryan's lawyer nodded. "Recovered from the man involved." My stomach twisted. The air felt too thin. I couldn't breathe. The lawyer read from a statement, the man confirming what happened that night. The judge's voice grew colder with each sentence. "This is not emotional distress," he said sharply. "This is deception." The words hit harder than a verdict. The case was dismissed. With prejudice. Meaning it was over. Forever. I remember stumbling out of the courtroom before anyone could see me cry. But I heard the shouting behind me, my parents blaming each other, their voices echoing through the marble hallway. "You covered for her," my father shouted. "You never cared enough to notice her pain," my mother screamed back. And in the middle of all that chaos, I realized something awful. I had ruined not just my relationship with Ryan. I had broken everything around me. That night, I sat in the dark with a bottle of wine and the court papers spread out across the floor. For the first time in weeks, I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling and whispered, "What did I do?" And somewhere deep down, a quieter voice whispered back, "You got what you deserved." After the courtroom, everything went quiet. No more calls. No more meetings. No more lawyers speaking for me like I wasn't even in the room. It was strange. For months I had begged for silence from Ryan's end, and now that it was here, it felt like punishment in its purest form. The first few days I stayed in bed.
Curtains drawn.
Food untouched. My mother tried to talk to me, but her words came out sharp, like she was scolding herself through me. My father avoided me altogether. Every time he looked at me, it was like he was staring at a stranger. The house felt colder, heavier, like my shame had soaked into the walls. At night, I'd replay the hearing in my head, the sound of the gavel, the gasps, the judge's voice. This is not emotional injury. This is deception. It played on loop until I started to believe it was the only thing that defined me now. I deleted my social media a week later. Not because I wanted to disappear, but because I couldn't bear to see everyone else moving forward. Engagements, weddings, vacations, while my life sat in ashes. Even my friends stopped reaching out. Some out of pity, some out of judgment. Lena tried once. She called, crying, saying she was sorry, that she never meant for things to go this far. I told her it wasn't her fault. It was mine. All of it. Because at the end of the day, I was the one who said yes to the party, who laughed, who kissed a stranger while wearing the title of bride-to-be. Every consequence that followed was the echo of that one decision. 2 weeks after the court, I drove to Ryan's old place. I told myself I just wanted to see it, to remind myself it was real once, that he was real. But when I got there, the apartment was empty. The windows were bare. Even the welcome mat was gone. It was like he'd erased himself completely. I stood there for a while, in the cold, trying to remember what it used to feel like when I'd knock on that door and he'd open it, smiling. Now, the silence on the other side was unbearable. I left a letter in the mailbox. It wasn't an apology anymore. It was just words, broken pieces of my heart on a page. You were the best part of me, and I was the worst part of you. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. Days blurred into nights. I stopped checking the time, stopped answering my parents, stopped caring about anything that existed beyond my room. I'd sit on the floor with a glass of wine, staring at the photo album from our engagement shoot, the way his hands rested gently on my waist, the way I leaned into him like the world made sense. I'd whisper things into the dark, like maybe the universe could hear me if I said them softly enough. "I'm sorry. I'd do anything to take it back. Please, just one more chance. But the universe didn't answer. Neither did he. A month later, something inside me cracked. I don't remember deciding to leave. I just remember driving, highways, rest stops, empty roads. When the police found me 2 days later, I was parked at a gas station an hour outside the city. The car was out of fuel.
My phone was dead.
I had no idea how I got there. My mother said I didn't even recognize her when she came to get me. They checked me into a psychiatric care center the next morning. The doctor called it a stress-induced dissociative episode. I called it karma. The place was quiet, too quiet. White walls, clean floors, people who spoke softly, like the world might break if they raised their voices. They gave me pills to help me sleep, and for the first time in weeks, I did. But sleep didn't bring peace. It brought memories. Dreams of Ryan standing in the rain, turning away. Dreams of the judge's voice echoing through an empty courtroom. Dreams of my own laughter at that club, before everything fell apart. I'd wake up screaming sometimes. Other times, I'd wake up crying so quietly the nurse wouldn't notice. They gave us journals and therapy, little notebooks with soft covers. We were supposed to write our thoughts. Every page of mine started the same way. I ruined everything. By the 10th page, the words started to lose meaning. They became rhythm instead of confession. 2 weeks later, Chloe came to visit. The same Chloe who sent that message. Don't marry her. She looked different. Tired. Older somehow. She sat across from me in the common room, her hands folded in her lap. I couldn't look at her at first. I hated her for telling him. But I also knew she was the only reason I wasn't living a lie anymore. Finally, I asked, "Why did you tell him?" She hesitated. Because he deserved the truth. And so did you. That truth destroyed me. She looked straight into my eyes. No, Isabella. You destroyed yourself. The truth just showed you how. Her words hurt, not because they were cruel, but because they were the only honest thing I'd heard in months. Before she left, she reached across the table and said quietly, "He's not your closure. You are." I didn't answer. I just watched her walk away, wondering when honesty had become the most painful kind of mercy. Months passed. I started getting better, or at least I learned how to fake it well enough that the doctors believed me. They let me go home eventually. The world outside felt louder, sharper. Like every sound was new again. I got a small apartment downtown. Nothing like the house Ryan and I had planned to buy. No photos on the walls. No mirrors in the bedroom. Just quiet. My mother visited once. She didn't say much. Just looked around and said, "At least you're safe." My father never came. Sometimes I'd pass by places that reminded me of Ryan, the coffee shop we used to visit, the park where he proposed. I never went in. I didn't have the right anymore. Then one evening, I got a message from Lena. She said Chloe was still in touch with someone from Ryan's office. That she'd heard he'd started seeing someone new. I read the text 3 times before deleting it.
I thought I'd cry.
I thought I'd break again. But I didn't. There was no anger. No jealousy. Just a quiet emptiness, like the part of me that used to ache for him had finally gone numb. I went to the window, looked out at the city lights, and whispered, "Good." Because if he'd found peace, maybe some small part of me had done something right, even if it was by disappearing. Weeks later, in therapy, my doctor asked me, "Do you miss him?" I thought about it for a long time before answering. "No," I said softly. "I miss who I was before I broke him." She nodded, writing something down. I smiled faintly because I knew she didn't understand. How could she? Love doesn't die all at once. It rots slowly, quietly, until all that's left is the memory of what it felt like to be whole. And I'll never be whole again. Now, I write letters I'll never send. Sometimes to him, sometimes to the girl I used to be. They all end the same way. I hope you're happier than I ever learned to be. Then I fold them, burn them, and watch the smoke rise until it disappears into nothing. Because that's what I've become, a collection of ashes pretending to be a person. I still wear my engagement ring sometimes. Not because I can't let go, but because it reminds me of who I could have been if I'd made one different choice. People think heartbreak is loud, crying, screaming, begging. But it's not. Real heartbreak is silence. It's waking up one morning and realizing the guilt doesn't hurt anymore. Not because you healed, but because you've run out of pieces to break. And that's when you know it's really over. Because pain fades, but emptiness that stays.